My name is Gravity, and on this episode of the Battlefield Show, Julian and I continue to discuss the fallout from Battlefield 2042 patch 3.2. The massive update which, among many other things, reintroduced the class system to the game. More Breakaway map rework thoughts. Now that we have been forced to play on 128 Conquest all week, how do we feel about the large Breakaway design layout? Patch 3.2.1 hits February 14th. What kind of changes can we expect? Season 4 content begins to leak. New weapons, vehicles, and the TF2 Demo Man makes an appearance. Finally, rapid fire topics. What does 2042 need to improve the game further? Joining us this week is Twitch streamer FPS Fletch to discuss all these topics and more. This is the Battlefield Show.
All right, welcome back to the Battlefield Show, ladies and gentlemen. It's Season 5, Episode 2. I'm your host, JulianJanganoo, and of course, my co-host, Gravity. Welcome on in. Today's guest is FPS Fletch. He has played Battlefield 2042 way longer than you may think.
You don't want to know the hours.
You don't want to know. You don't want to know. This man is highly ranked. He is an infantry soldier and just dominates and has played a lot, has a lot of experience 2042. So we invite him on the show. FPS Fletch or Fletch, welcome on in. How you doing?
I appreciate you guys having me. I'm doing great. I'd be lying, I'm a little nervous. I've never been a part of something like this, so I'll do my best, guys. I'll do my best.
Nothing to be worried about. And for the most part, we're just BSing our way through just talking about what we enjoy, and we enjoy the games. So yeah, nothing to be nervous about.
And it's obvious you enjoy 2042, and we wanted to get your take on, your experience through Battlefield, because you're an avid gamer and you've played a lot more than both of us probably combined. And I think you might have something to say about the game, whether it's positive or negative. And we'll just go through like a whole bunch of topics and see what your take is on that. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. So let's just start with your background, Fletch. So you said you mentioned that you played Battlefield 3 and 4. Where did you start playing Battlefield? And we'll go from there.
I started playing Battlefield 3 on the Xbox, but I had an older school box televisions. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. Those really old ones. And I was not able to see more than 20 feet in front of my character. So I technically played Battlefield 3, but I really invested most of my hours into 4 because I had better technology at that point.
And on 4, you started from the beginning, or did you come in late in Battlefield 4?
A little late. I heard 4's launch was actually pretty trashy, from what I've been told.
Yes, you good. I'm happy for you.
Battlefield isn't trashy about the launch, but
true.
Yeah, 4 I probably put more hours into that game than any other Battlefield by a long shot, which is not good.
So, what were the big standout things in Battlefield 4 that what was your go-to, like mode and class, stuff like that?
Pretty much coming from the majority of my time playing Call of Duty. When I jumped into Battlefield 4 big time, I was pretty overwhelmed by all the action and the crazy explosions and stuff. So I was really drawn to Conquest from the beginning. Those big, large scale warfare, the farthest thing from COD that offered back then, and it just blew me away. So I was a Conquest player then too, for the most part.
Okay, and your favorite weapons you went to, or what kind of class did you play?
I played a lot of medic and assault, but I was kind of a one-trick pony when it came to the guns. I think I used the M4 religiously to the point where it was an unhealthy relationship, but I just couldn't stop using it. It was too much fun.
No, I get it. I see you love the in 2042. You're kind of the same boat. When the game first came out, the PP-29 was the best gun in the game. I can see you probably just mained that until they fix all the other guns later on, right?
Yeah, I feel like you were kind of forced to use the PP. I mean, That's a big disadvantage if you weren't had your PP in your hands at all times.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And then I
Nah,
abused
yeah,
the
it was.
AC-42 later on, but we don't need to talk about it. I think that's my still most used gun is the AC-42.
It is
Okay, and
still a
you,
laser beam, yeah.
oh yeah, and you play on console, or I see you play on PC, yeah?
Yeah, actually, this is my first PC I got about 3 years ago. So I spent about a year or so on learning the whole keyboard and whatnot on Battlefield 5.
Oh,
And
good.
I never had played Battlefield 2042 on console, and barely. I've played maybe like 10 rounds with it on a controller. But once you go keyboard and mouse or go PC, you just don't go back.
Oh, interesting.
It's
People,
just too different.
hey, I've seen so many controller players go into mouse and keyboard and usually never go back, but they still, for certain games they'll go back, like single players and whatnot. But they pick it up so fast. It's a very interesting thing. Maybe it's just a unique talent or something, but I can't. It would take me weeks to get used to a controller, going the opposite direction. But no, that's cool. You got into a mouse and keyboard. And speaking of the AC-42, it went through like a whole bunch of different patches, pretty much, and it must be the best it's ever been right now, don't you think?
I'd agree with that. I think it's probably one of the most slept on guns. I don't know if people just don't like it a whole lot. You don't see it like being abused to the max like some other guns. I think it's because of the burst fire. People just don't seem to like to tend to use burst fires at all. But from the release to even up till now, like there's barely any spots in between them. The Ace-42 wouldn't be in like my top 5 gun list, if not number 1. And it feels
Yeah.
really crispy now too, for sure.
Oh yeah, they recently increased the rate of fire between the bursts,
Wait, they
and
did? Oh shit, I didn't know that.
yeah, so now I don't know if it's because it went through so many patches because it was a laser rifle on console, so it was like the number one used gun in console because it's so easy to control and to use. I'm not sure the rate of fire was the same as it is now, but I feel like it's way faster than it's ever been. I think it has to be. So that's probably why it feels so good now, is because the rate of fire in between bursts have been increased in a recent patch too. It's only been like what 2 or 3 patches, Gravity or something, since they updated that.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Okay. Well,
It's
anyway,
weird.
Fletch. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, it's weird with the burst because at least back in the past, not so much anymore. It was like if the servers were choppy or messed up, your burst would come out at different rates. Some rates, some
Oh my.
lobbies you'd be in, and it would just be like almost felt like full automatic. And then the other lobbies would be like fat gaps in between your bursts. So I don't know if that
Oh,
plays into like part of why the gun feels better at time to times. Like I feel like it's somewhat server related, if that makes sense.
interesting. Yeah, I could see that especially from like a burst fire rifle. Yeah, I mean, you probably noticed that more than us. So yeah, I've never really noticed it, to be honest. But
Well, you remember like when you used to shoot full automatics and like it would just randomly shoot like one bullet, like it would stutter almost in between.
there's
Like,
yeah,
and that stutter
okay.
would be like amplified on the burst weapons for some reason. At least it felt that way to me.
Yeah. Sometimes it would hitch on me, like with certain burst fire weapons, or like you can change the mode of the guns, and then I would notice it sometimes, like hitch on me or not shoot or like be out of sync with my clicks, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't remember how bad that was for the burst fire weapons. I just remember that particular stutter bug with the rate of fire just was infuriating, and I was screaming every time it happened. So it didn't matter what gun. I'm so glad that's gone. Hopefully for now.
Yeah, until the next update.
Yeah, that's like among the most infuriating bugs.
Yeah. And there's a lot to talk about. We just got the 3.2 update and the new class system. Let's just get that over with. Let's talk about that real quick. We went over a lot in the previous episode. So Fletch, what do you think about the transition into the class system that they've added here? And what are your thoughts overall, and who's your go-to?
So the class system over as a whole, I think was a fantastic change. It probably should have been in the game from the beginning, but at the same time, it helps balance the game. But it also, if you look into the individual characters per each specialist group, like there's barely few choices. Like Assault, at least for me, like I don't see myself ever wanting to play anybody but McKay. If you go into the medic category, like Falk just dominates over all the medics. So it seems like they even made it even harder for the variety of different characters on the battlefield itself. But I do like how they kept the ability to use whatever guns throughout each class. I really hope they don't change that. Maybe I'm just so used to it now that I wouldn't like it. I like being able to pull out my sniper with McKay or throw over a sub. I think they should keep that.
I agree.
But
your go-to, what do you play now?
Oh, McKay. Pretty much McKay the whole time.
Oh, another McKay. Jesus. Every guest we have is McKay player.
Well, I wouldn't even put him in like, he'd be in the top 5, but he'd be a stretch to put him in the top 3 if we're talking about like best characters. I just think once you get used to his grapple hook, the game is just so much more exciting and fun to just swing around like Tarzan, you know? I mean, who doesn't like that? It's too good.
No, exactly. No, I was a McKay main. You can see my stats right now. I'm kind of transitioning out of McKay just to get another experience in with, I don't know, maybe Falk, probably. I am kind of more engaged with her play style and being a medic. The cool thing about it is like I have unlimited heals basically, which is really nice. And I'm kind of like lacking that, insta heal mechanic with McKay, even though he does have his pen. Sometimes I use it and I don't run into another med bag or a med crate or anything like that. So I kind of lose out on that. So the other thing was the ADS speed increase for all the characters.
Yes.
And a very slight decrease for McKay, which I didn't really notice that much. It's almost all pretty much the same. You would think so, right, Fletch? Like it hasn't changed that much, right?
Yeah, it hasn't changed enough for me to even know that was even added into the game. So it must be pretty small, I guess.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking, because I played McKay a few times and I was like, yeah, it's about the same as everyone else. I mean, I just loved how fast it is now, because it was a pain in the butt playing as Falk before the 3.2 patch, because of her ADS speed was so slow. I felt like I was just a sitting duck most of the time. That's why I would always play as McKay for the majority of my playtime. But okay, well, that's good to hear. Another another McKay player. Grapple hook is something else, man. I know Gravity ate the idea of grapple hook because of what it does to map design, right? It could like pretty much ruin map design going forward. But I don't know. It's a cool gadget. I don't. Do you think they should keep it going, Gravity, with the?
Oh, you can't get rid of it at this point. But I mean, you just can't have a grapple hook in the next game. It's just, yeah,
it'll be a shame if they got rid of it.
Yeah, I think as a whole, like they keep nerfing a lot of movement abilities, but they're not like fixing the maps to apply to a slower moving game. And I don't think it's too late. They have to keep these movement abilities. I'd even say go even a step farther and give more people some kind of movement mechanic, especially a medic. I would play the shit out of a medic that had some kind of movement ability in it, at least something small.
Yeah,
maybe like
a little small
thing. Yeah, like remember in 5, I don't know if you guys played it. You'd be able to ping your down soldier, and it would give you that extra running speed just to get over to him.
Oh, yeah, right.
Just something small like that, I think, would go a long way.
Yeah, that'd be a cool little buff. That's a great thing to add in. Yeah.
Yeah, those came late in Battlefield 5. They were like a kind of a Battlefield 4 upgrade kind of thing that you can choose from, I believe. And some of them were like, if you ping someone, like smoke will just magically appear out of them. You guys remember that one?
I don't remember that. No.
Yeah, it was one of the upgrade, or was that BF1?
I think you're thinking of BF1, because that had the little perk packages you can choose from the 3 of those. BF5 didn't have any of that. What it was. Yeah, it's okay, Julian's inventing things. Like, I just played this game the other day.
Wait, what is Fletch talking about in BF5 to run faster?
He's talking about when you pinged as a medic, the person if you were a medic class and you pinged a person that was down, you were able to run at a tiny boost of speed towards them. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I'm coming. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, little things like that. God, I got that really mixed up. Holy shit. But yeah, in BF1, dude, it was crazy. They invented all these little perks that you can have like later on, and there's just wacky ones. They just came up with weird shit. Like if you pinged a player to go revive them, like smoke will come out, so you don't have to throw a smoke grenade or a smoke launcher. Just smoke will start coming out of the ground.
Honestly, I don't even remember that one. The funny thing about the perk package, the funny thing about the perk packages in BF1 is most players, they looked at it like for the first week they played, and they never looked at it again. They set what they wanted, and that was it. It was like 5 years later, what is this? You know, I was like, yeah.
I don't remember the perk packages being a thing. That's how minute it must have been or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into the first main topic, pretty much, and that's Conquest mode. And Fletch, you have a lot of experience in Conquest, and now that 2042 is out, they have a feature, a standout feature that is 128 players now. And I just kind of want to get your take on, your experiences from 64-player Conquest, even in 2042, and 128. What are like the biggest standouts, the biggest difference in your Conquest experience? Is it mostly positive or is it mostly negative? Like, give me your experience on 128.
I actually really enjoy 128. I think it brought a whole nother level to the game, but I think they executed it poorly, especially with how the game functions itself. Seems like it struggles to keep high frame rates or whatnot, like run smoothly when there's a lot of chaos going on. Big reason why I think they got rid of 128 player breakthrough. Like my PC would just explode if I played 128 breakthrough. At least my older PC would. And I think it's weird because I equally like playing 64 and 28, even in this game. But I will say that Exodus Conquest leaves, like they haven't changed the maps to be smaller in a couple of them. Like Renewal's the same exact size, unless they did this recently, that it is in 128 breakthrough. So you end up having like really slow pace games. Same with Stranded. Like you have that giant ship in the outside points, and half the players, it kind of ruins it. But as a whole, I think they should probably revert in the next game back to 64 or somehow have the system itself run better for 128. I think people wouldn't really mind. They just want to be able to play the game and play it smoothly. So I'm cool with going back to 64, even though I do enjoy the absolute chaos 128 brings to it.
I want to kind
Did you ever?
go ahead. I want to pivot to the 128 Conquest size maps because obviously you've played a lot of them. Are there any still existing aside from Hourglass that are that you believe are still really bad even after they've been reworked, or are actually pretty solid in terms of their 128 gameplay?
Good question. I think there's a lot of maps that are like as a whole, they're actually not bad. Like I'll say Kaleidoscope. Like the layout and the look of the map and feel, it's good, but it's massive. And with the multiple skyscraper buildings up top, that even adds more layers to the level. And people love just to sit up there and snipe. So in that map, especially, even though it looks good and it plays well, you find yourself running for just way too long to get to the next objective.
Okay.
So maybe cutting that in half, or like cutting like a third of it out or something. And same with Renewal. Renewal is a little different, where I think all these maps that they fixed are way better than before. But like Renewal, they should have done something with the wall in the middle. There's so many games that just turn into a stalemate, and there's only 2 or 3 entrances to get to the other side. And it's, I don't know, like you should be able to blow up the wall, like big chunks out of it with C5 or a tank. Oh, make up some more entrances and exits and whatnot.
I completely agree. What are your thoughts on the new Breakaway? And actually, I'll have some thoughts on this too, because I think the last show we did, none of us had actually played 128 Breakaway yet. So I've had some good experience on it this week. So what are your thoughts on the new rework for Breakaway 128?
I'm gonna give it I might change my opinion, but I'm gonna give it the #1 spot in best reworked maps so far that they've done. The only one that gets close to it, in my opinion, is Orbital. I thought that was a pretty good change. The one thing I would change about though is the giant glacier side of it.
Here, let me actually bring it up here. There you go.
Yeah, the E1 and E2 areas.
Okay.
So if you go, if you're up on this hill, a lot of times if it takes like 10 times. Okay, 10 times is a little extreme, but it takes much longer to get from the US side down to the B's in the C area. And a lot of times by the time your team even makes it to the edge of the cliff, these are already all taken. And so it pretty much ends up being the same problem it had before, where you have to get from E to B is just too big of a gap. Like there needs to be a faster way or an objective in between these two, at least for Conquest. Otherwise than that, if you cut out E, the rest of the map is fantastic, at least in comparison to before. It's just that E area that I think needs to be fixed a little bit, or something needs to be changed there.
Yeah, so last week, obviously, I had a bunch of experience on the Exodus, the 64-player version of this, and we had a very long conversation with EK and Zena about the breakthrough version of this map. But none of us had actually played the 128 version, partially because there wasn't a map in the playlist at that time last week. And this week, we got a full 128 week of it, so it's been fantastic. I'm going to agree with everything you said. In my experience, just looking at the map, you go, well, the main flags here don't look too bad, but these E2, E1 flags are just, why are they even there, right? It's like,
real.
Right, because there's no point in the RU team even going up there. It's going to get recapped. It's a excursion into the Arctic, really. It's like there's no reason to go up there. On the other hand, this whole other side down here, this is so phenomenally good for infantry play, right? There's light vehicles everywhere. The helicopters can't maneuver too well to just continually harass infantry. The fight between B1, A2, and the C flags, crazy good. I love the way that the D1 flag was incorporated here, kind of as a last-ditch effort in case any of these are all capped. And I like seeing jeeps and stuff come off the hill, or the choppers try to take this flag here. I still think that at some points on the low ground, there's still a little too much open space. And I still think ground vehicles like tanks are really, really difficult on this map to play. There's not a whole lot of areas for them. Also, there's nowhere on the US really to bring them down except for that main road, which really sucks. I think in the long run, this is a phenomenally better infantry map than it used to be, and probably one of the best reworks so far, other than Orbital.
Yeah, I would agree too. Delta 1, remember we were like, is anything over there? Well, there's something there.
You know what is funny? I couldn't even remember. It used to be that little island that used to be the right side breakthrough when you jump off the cliff. It used to be that little area over there, and they moved it just a hair to the left, and that's where it is now. It's actually not as defended. It's a little bit more open than it was pre-update, which is kind of interesting. The one thing that a couple of us were talking about with regard to the map design is this whole keeping the US base up on the hill is a no-go. What they should have done, because they've got this whole RU side, is they probably should have brought the US uncap over here on the far right of the map with this ice shelf, maybe kept one flag at the top that you can have verticality on, and then maybe added like one other flag over here on the low ground. And this way the whole ice sheet could have been the main map. This way, you could have had,
I love E1. E1's with the down helicopter, that little area. It's pretty. It's beautiful. It has two main roads that go to it. People can exit it really quick. It's great for that breakthrough run, of course.
Yeah.
But like EK said, with the whole, stacked objectives is usually not really fun, especially to defend. But that maybe just get rid of E2.
Yeah, E2 should be gone. That's what I'm saying. So
okay.
What we're saying is like this whole main base up here, you can keep it for breakthrough. It's fine. But the main base for 128, you should have just gotten rid of it up top and brought it down on the right side and made it kind of a little more symmetrical and a little more balanced and focused the battle on the low ground ice sheet. Maybe kept one flag on the high ground so you can jump down from it. But other than that, it's a phenomenal rework.
Yeah, the way it's designed now, I feel like if you're on the E team, I always see Wildcats and tanks just parked up on the top corner, and like, how the hell are you ever gonna kill those guys up there? There's no shot you're gonna get up there. And then at the same time, I feel like the helicopters on E have a struggle, and then the opposite side, tanks struggle big time in the A's, and then the helicopters kind of run free. It's weird.
That's the same problem that's the same problem that they have on 64 players. Like that whole area, you can only tank here, but the helicopters can just harass them from vertically. Yeah. But yeah, the hillside, people park those jeeps up at the top with 30 millimeters and just shoot down into the C flag. It's like, all right, I guess I'm not doing anything about it. Yeah.
And those things hit like a truck, especially the 50 millimeter on the Jeep is so slept on. Yeah, for real.
Jesus, I'm like, what is happening around? I'm like running around, just boom, 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 boom. It's some guy with a 30 mil on a little Tonka truck, like 3 miles away. But no, what I really love about this map my favorite flags are A1, A2, and C1. Now, C1's super great because I found a hiding spot on there that you can cap on, and people the only way people can get behind you is through a ladder that's right behind you that goes up. I love defending C1 and attacking it just because of that one little spot, and it gives you a lot of cover there. You can watch people up top, see if there's people there. It's a really fun experience for me to fight over the C1, C2. Plus, I've been using the PB2000 and the MTAR, since the release, so I don't have any range. So going to something like B1 is a no-go. Like, B1 is so open, you're just dead if you even go close there. Not only are there vehicles coming down the ice shelf, there's just a lot of room for vehicles up top. There's spawns up top of a B1. There's a lot of open ice there. You get killed from A2. It's just
and there's
dead.
always snipers. There's always snipers on that hill on the back hill. So yeah, the only other thing I'd say is
there.
That A2 flag. Remember how when we were talking about the Exodus version, we're like, this flag radius is massive. Like, how it's kind of frustrating. The 128 flat version, that A2 flag radius is still the same, and it's actually one of the best features of the map because always there seems like there's 20 people on that flag at a time, and you can get some crazy kill streaks by coming around the corner. It's fun. It's
other
intense.
Other than the stupid barrel things blowing up and killing everybody.
What do you guys think about the barrels blowing up? I think it looks fantastic, but it gets kind of annoying when your character's constantly on fire like the whole time.
They should just be pre-blown up, like the three in the back right there on the RU main base. When breakthrough, they would be intact, but right now they're all flaming. They should just be flaming.
This is going to be a base take here, but I'm actually okay with it because I'd rather have that than a tornado on the map, which it does not have.
Good point.
Thank the gods, right? Oh, wow.
I think we're all sick of the tornadoes by now.
Don't give them any ideas.
They're like, what, ice tornado? That sounds fantastic.
All right. Okay, well, that's good. It looks like a lot of positives coming out of 128 player rework for Breakaway. So that's good. All right, cool. So we got your takes on that. So let's talk about 3.2.1 hotfix. Which will be the final patch for season 3, and then we'll be going to season 4 later on in March, I believe, probably at the beginning of March, I would think. And there's only about 3 or 2.5 weeks left of season 3, and it's the longest season because of the holidays. Let's go over Gravity. Help us go through this. What are the biggest takeaways from 3.2.1? And let's talk about it.
Sure. So the couple of the big ones, obviously the Tracer Dart nerf, the Tracer Dart speed is cut in half, so it's practically no longer hit scan. That's fantastic. People are kind of going crazy saying, oh my god, it's useless now. That's not true. Relax. It's just balanced now. Just chill. The Javelin can no longer lock into the Tracer Dart while Dart is out of sight. Another good nerf for the Javelin, although it needs probably a top-down damage nerf still. That needs to happen. Surprisingly, no changes to the M39 EMR suppressor crazy overpowered bug yet, so that's gonna have to wait a little bit longer for that.
I hope it's a silence,
suppressed,
pretty much, nerf, pretty much. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll be really surprised if they just we'll do it later. What? You can't, it's just the most obvious bug in the entire game right now is a suppressor bug from the M39. They don't fix it. That's crazy.
Pretty much like one of the biggest bugs right now, and it'll sure get nerfed, but I'm kind of surprised that it wasn't a part of this patch. A little bug with Angel getting fixed, so they couldn't use any specialist gadget, which we might kind of remarked on last week during last week's Battlefield show. Increase to the Vulcan health. Okay, so what? Not big a deal. I mean, you can just shoot Crawford off the thing for the most part. The other big changes have to do with the MTAR, the drum mags, and the PP2K. So last week when we got the 3.2 patch, we noticed that there was a drum mag nerf, how it would just... the ADS was so much slower than it should be, and after looking at it, they're like, well, this is not what we intended, so we're going to fix that, and so the drum mag should be back to normal normal for now, at least for now, until they figure out some other way to nerf it. By the way, the proper nerf is to just increase the reload time. That's it. That's the right nerf.
Yeah, but they're like he's so vigilant. The whoever's making this are like, it's got to be worse. It's got to be worse.
Yeah,
we don't think that's enough.
No,
that's enough. Like, this guy is out of control. This weapons specials guy or whoever the hell's making these designing choices.
Yeah, specials is getting them too much credit. I don't know about special. Something special's happening there.
Yeah, I don't as intended. Of course, he intended it. He wanted to make it the worst feeling thing ever, so people would stop using the extended mags and drum mags, which is like, I earned that shit, man. I put in time to get that. That's just leveling up and progressing. Why do you want to?
It's also insanely counterintuitive when you can slap on a 200-round mag or something on the LCMG with a thermal 6x and go nuts at them. Recoil. It's like,
where's the gameplay experience buff on that? Like, I don't understand.
That was one of the first things I noticed when I pulled out the LCMG after they changed the ADS speed on the drums. I was like, wait a second, this feels almost faster than before. Why? This is gonna be the best gun. Why would you ever want to choose something else?
Right.
Makes no sense.
Last two changes, of course, the MTAR having a little bit of a recoil adjustment and damage increase at range, which is probably pretty good because it launched very mid. It was okay. It wasn't spectacular. So we'll see how this change affects the MTAR. Big change, though, with the PP2000 getting a massive range buff up to 50 meters and having the damage increase 22 to 28, which puts it in line with the SCAR, but it shoots 50 RPM faster. So
wow, that's impressive. It puts it in line with the SCAR. That's insane.
So yeah, that could be very interesting. So we'll see how that turns out.
Be your favorite gun, Fletch.
Shit, you're not wrong. Oh, I forgot to ask before this started. It's cool if I swear, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
As long as it's not in the first 30s.
Oh yeah.
Whatever that YouTube rule is, but we're not in the YouTube program yet, so
yeah. We'll get there.
It's all good.
So yeah, those are all the changes for this little mini patch hot fix. Not too bad. Nothing crazy surprising. Although a few things were obviously like the 39 EMR nerf, which was needed, still not there, but not too bad of a.
I ain't gonna cry over it. Like, hey, I'm gonna own people with the M39. Hey, okay. I'm down. I'll get through the tier 1 grind a lot faster. I tell you that much.
Yeah,
tier 1 it now before it's nerfed.
I was actually more surprised at how quickly this is coming post 3.2, and I'm actually I'm really pleased about that. Like, at least they fixed the drum bag nerf really quickly, so that's good.
Okay, cool. Well, now that season 4 is on the horizon here, let's go over some of them leaks. Well, there's so many leaks from Temporal, the file diggers out there. There's a couple of them now. I found another dude. I don't remember his name, but he's been posting screenshots and whatnot. He even challenged Temporal, saying, "Oh, I don't think he can find this or whatever. This leaked Crawford skin." Right. And he was like, "Oh, yeah." And he like quoted them and he like started posting all these images of leaked specialist outfits from Crawford and all that, and they have a little battle there. But pretty much I think everything has been leaked as to what we're getting for season 4. Let's just go over that. I know there's like a new specialist that's coming out.
Let's start with her.
The Blasco, Camilla. Okay, Camilla Blasco. And what's interesting about her, the previous leaks were from some other person that had a remote control car kind of thing. We didn't know what it would do exactly.
Well, that was always one of those things, even up to a year ago. Like, hey, there's this reference in the game about some other gadget or some other specialist with a thing, but that I guess that just never materialized.
Right. So now we got this. I think this is a great idea. I was like, dude, there's so many like hacking attempts, or there's a bunch of spotting equipment everywhere. We need someone that can negate that. And I was hoping for someone like that for the recon class, and we found out that the last specialist will be a recon player. So this is exactly what I wanted from the last recon player was to negate all these spotting abilities that everybody has and can run around like pretty much like a ninja and start doing things. It's a really standout class and might be used quite a bit. What does he say there as to that device there, Gravity?
All right, so this is interesting. Her X6 infiltration device creates a zone which jams spotting info and incoming lock-ons. Overall, this is a very interesting concept. I wonder how well it would mesh and how with current existing vehicles or other equipment, and how long of a duration it has. And I don't really think, naturally you think it's not so bad, but I worry about things being like, can you throw it on tanks? Can you throw it on helicopters? If you're in the third or fourth, if you're in the third or fourth seat of the Condor, can you just chuck it in the hot Condor and can it stick in the Condor and you can no longer block that? Like that's these are interesting. These are the questions I have. Overall, I think it's it takes a little bit of mental gymnastics to kind of figure out exactly how strong she could be. But the fact that she might not show up on tugs or motion balls or trigger claymores is pretty huge. So there's a lot there. And then of course you get the dead zone with the spotting stuff. Yeah, you can just chuck that on the roof somewhere and see anybody's pokeballs or tugs or equipment. She could be pretty strong.
It actually spots out the enemy equipment too. It doesn't just jam it.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Wow, this could be insane.
I wonder what that radius is.
That's the biggest question, right? And then helicopters, like you said, was the first thing I thought of too. If they can negate lock-ons at all, really, it could be pretty OP.
So I'm thinking about that. As this device, I'm thinking this device is somehow attached to her and she can't bring it out and do something. But if it is, then it's on a notepad. But I don't think she could just throw it. I wasn't really expecting that, but that's a possibility, Gravity, and that worries me a lot because if it's a device you can sticky on anything you want, and then it could just go away once you use another one. That could be a huge problem.
Yeah, that's the big thing is we don't know if it's a throwable or if it's like a what do you want to call?
Yeah, we're just speculating.
I don't know. We don't know if it's a throwable or like one of the Irish APS drones where you set it down or something like that. So we'll have to find out and see.
Yeah, so if it's something that's attached to her and then you just press a button and it does a thing, right? You would have to be a passenger or side passenger.
It's to throw it,
to even use it. So let's say you're in a transport chopper, you need to be in one of those passenger seats that's kind of just in the open. You're just like where you can repair,
right?
And then you can blast yourself, right? And would that mean the helicopter could be locked on or not?
Right, it's a dead zone. I mean, it depends if it follows her or if it like just is in that area where you activate it and then there's a floating area that's a dead zone. I don't know. There's a lot to.
I don't know.
There's a lot of unknowns here with the specialist. So it'll be. I think this is going to just require a lot more experimentation. And once this comes out, I'm sure that Battlefield show will have a lot of interesting things that people are going to discovering about her.
You think it could be like something like the Pike scan ability where it's just on her arm and it's like on a timer? You just scan, well, like a reverse scan, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like well, if you're gonna reveal everything, right, you need to see where it is. So what if it's some sort of like, I don't know, like a haziness or something? Maybe it just visually looks different while you're in your zone or whatever. That'd be interesting, but I don't know. Yeah. I'm just kind of speculating here. I'm presuming that this device is just on her like a RAW backpack kind of thing. It's just like she has on her back and it does something, and maybe they just highlight red the devices and she just looks around and it's for a limited time. So yeah, we'll see how fast it is, and they'll go from there. They can nerf it or whatever needs to be done.
Be cool if it was like the robot dog or like some kind of robotic dog or something following her around that you could kill, or if you don't kill it, it just kind of sticks by her. That'd be interesting.
I was thinking about like a small drone that is kind of from 2142 Gravity. Remember, it had the little firing drone that would follow you.
Those were the accipiters, yeah.
the accipiters can follow you. They like hover above your head, and they like
there was
lock
actually
on to whoever's on near you.
there were actually 2 different drones in that game, and ooh, that's boy, you just gave me a thought. Okay, there's actually 2 different drones.
Right?
So the squad leader in 2142, there were 2 different drones. One was the accipiter drone that would follow you around and attack things, but there was another one that was a sensor drone. It actually would follow you around. It would acted as a mobile tugs that followed you. I'm not kidding.
Go.
So it could be similar to that as well, but yeah.
Yeah, it sounds crazy. I've never played 2142. I heard a lot of good things about it though. I
Yeah.
thought people were picturing this game to be more similar to that, but I don't see that.
Didn't work out that way, but man, I wish.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this is kind of more of a prequel. See, this is what I think the next game is going to be like, is closer to 2140, but kind of like in between what we have now.
God, I hope so.
And 2142, and they can experiment with a lot of interesting stuff. They can have walker suits, like even personal walker suits.
Well, this is
that has been teased in many other games as well.
This brings up something that they brought on the Inside Battlefield episode 3 thing of like somebody said something about 2042's narrative continues in season 5, and I read that and I said, "There's a narrative?"
Yeah, what?
And so,
narrative is
to me that says, is season 5 going to be the tease season? Like, hey, we have this extra season. Are we going to tease the next game somehow? Are we going to throw on something on a billboard? I don't know how they're going to do it, but it's just interesting little tidbit that they dropped as far as narrative, considering that the game doesn't really have much.
Right. All right, let's see what else. Let's see what else they leaked there.
Sure. So we've got the new explosive launcher for the new gadget, which is the TF2 Demo Man sticky launcher. Each casing into the launcher houses 2 projectiles, allowing for 2 shots before needing to reload. With a flat shooting trajectory, once attached, the projectile will explode after a short delay. So essentially, you have a timed sticky slam launcher, timed sticky bomb launcher, which is interesting.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
I'm not too sure. I'm guessing that's an assault gadget or maybe an engineer gadget.
I wonder if you can stick it to another infantry.
It says
player,
assault
like
right there. It does say
assault.
Oh, it's assault. Oh, okay. Oh, how odd. Okay.
That could be fun. I don't know how that would work.
I hope they have the character model from Team Fortress 2 as well.
That would be hilarious.
Just literally poured him into the game. I would love that.
Yeah, I need a Demo Man skin. Yeah, that'd be great. All right, after that, of course, we have got the new AR. We have a brand spanking new AR that is integrally suppressed, so it has a by default suppressor on it.
Like the BSVM?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Like how it says,
is that the suppressor?
Yeah.
It looks a little weird.
Well, it says based on the RM222 or 227, so or 277. So that's the real gun. Probably it'll look like this.
Oh, that's so weird. It's a bullpup, it looks like.
I like how it says high accuracy, because what gun in this game doesn't have high accuracy already?
True. People always ask me, like, how do you control the recoil? I'm like, what do you mean? There's no recoil in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, there is on some guns, but like it's very small.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got a new AR. We have a new LMG coming as well. So we've got 2 new guns. Looks like it's based off the RPL-20 automatic squad weapon. Intermediate rounds. I don't know what intermediate rounds is.
I don't know what that means either. It's scary, but okay.
So yeah, we've got another one LMG coming in.
Okay.
We've got more vault weapons. We've got the Type 88 and the SVD, and I'm sure the SVD won't be annoying at all like it is in any previous game.
Dude, Type 88 is so good in Portal. I tried it extensively. It's really good, and the sound is amazing on it.
And I'm pretty sure the SVD is like the MTAR. I don't think it's in any Portal. I think it's it would be completely new to the game. So
yeah,
like
once
the only
again,
guns they get correct are the light machine guns. They're the only guns that are like mid tier, like somewhat viable in the actual game. They do a good job with those.
Yeah, they only did a slight buff to the M60 because it was like super slow and didn't do much damage. So they just increased the damage, and now it's like somewhat of a viable weapon to use. But yeah, Type 88 might need some patches too. Maybe it's just not powerful enough. Who knows?
It could act like the M60, where it just has a slower rate of fire. It might need a little slight kick in the butt there.
It's fast. It's kind of fast.
Yeah.
It's similar to how it was in previous games. But yeah, SVD, they're doing this a lot. There was like a whole bunch of weapons that they put out of like what's coming, like a portal, like it was a red picture and a whole bunch of portal guns that were coming to port, like the AUG. Like there's a few different types of AUGs that were teased. So maybe we're just getting new weapons that are coming immediately to Portal and the base game. So they're like brand new weapons, basically.
Speaking of which, we have another SMG as well coming into Season 4. So that's 3 brands making new weapons in Season 4, which is, plus the vault weapons, I think that's the most we've ever had in a single season. So
yeah,
good job.
Yes.
Is there any word about 1 map, 2 maps, any maps?
We have 1 new map, and at least either the Hourglass or Discarded will come through Season 4.
Don't get ahead of yourself, Fletch. Is like, hey,
yeah.
2 maps?
So yeah, we've got 1 new map, we've got 1 rework, and then Season 5 will have the 1 new map that is based off of a 4 map, and probably the other 2042 map rework.
Okay, I was really hoping they would bump up the game of adding more maps. Like I was actually pretty disappointed Season 1 drop when it was just Exposure, which it was a solid map, but you can't retain players to come back and stay in your game a long time if you're going to give them such small amounts of map content. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Give us at least 2 maps a season, please. 2 new maps.
That has been my driving commitment, to make sure that I can convince DICE that the game revolves around maps. That's how you have player retention. That's what keeps the game new more than anything else. Yeah.
And then look at the Steam charts. Look at the Steam charts. Whenever there's a new map that comes, boom, huge spike, right? When you get the 3.2 patch, little spike. No new map or anything. You just get a little tiny one, right? It's all about the maps. I agree.
And then, like, what if you they release 1 new map? What if you don't like that map? Well, you got 3 months of a map that's just going to actually piss you off.
Exactly. Which is why if you have those that drop a 3 or 4, at least you can have, fun. Maybe you'll really enjoy one, but maybe the other 2 are mid-tier. The one you don't like, you can avoid. Things like that, yeah.
Yeah, and like do 3 and do 1 for like 1 infantry map, 1 vehicle map, and then 1 mixed hybrid map.
Absolutely.
So everyone gets a little taste of what they want.
Yeah, they love doing that already, so... Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
And then, of course, we have 1 new vehicle coming to, which is really, really weird this time around, because it is I would assume like a tank destroyer type of thing. My screen's a little off here because the image was weird, but why do we need this? With the Wildcat already, it's like.
So is this an infantry-only Wildcat? Is that what you're telling me?
It looks like it's a more of an IFV type thing, directly from like a BF4.
That's what I was thinking.
It's got a 40mm gun, which is... So,
great.
But it's a case cannon. It's not an actual explosive cannon. So this is like a flechette launcher. So it's only effective against infantry and light vehicles. It's got an ADPS kinetic round with limited splash. Effective for close medium range combat against armored vehicles. Close to medium. I don't know. It's be interesting to see if that's effective.
It seems like it might have a lot of speed or something to give it an edge. If it's not going to be putting out as much damage, at least against other vehicles.
So I'm assuming this is going to be in the same pick area as the
Wildcat.
The Wildcat, yeah. It's going to be in the same like area to pick it from.
Yeah,
the pool. That's what. Yeah.
The thing that definitely gives that indication is the fact that it has an option of a 20mm flat gun. So the Wildcat obviously has the 30mm, but this is like, hey, it could have its own anti-aircraft gun. So that's interesting. The most unique thing is the fact that it has a side-mounted grenade launchers that fires a volley of grenades in all directions to eliminate any close threats.
Oh, great!
Fun, sweet.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Drive-bys. Gonna be really fun.
Cyber Warfare Protection System. On activation, this equipment will block any attempt by cyber warfare users to hack the vehicle's hardware systems.
Oh shit, that's kind of cool. I'll take
Instead
that
of
over the APS.
yeah,
Because I think that's the. I think is it called the APS? I'm not too good at my
Yeah.
terminology.
APS
but
is the yeah.
Yeah, on like the RAM tank, especially, I've always had the biggest problem because you can get close enough to. I use C5, so you try to get close to it, which is like impossible. And then they just use that, and it's like a trump card. Such a pain in the ass to deal with. But so I like what they're doing with this one more, at least from the sound of it.
I'm not sure how effective it'll be, but we'll see.
Sounds like it would be something that would work better on a helicopter, maybe, to avoid hacks. I don't know if tanks really deal with the same problem with rouse hacks all the time.
Yeah, I guess it kind of depends on how quickly you can react to it, because there are hacks against vehicles pretty quick.
True, I guess you have like a very small window to even realize it's happening.
right.
I think the only other unique thing about this is that at least under the temporal render, it says superior protection from mines, C5 explosives, and grenades. First off, grenades? Like, what grenades are doing massive damage to vehicles aside from the Sundance ones? And that's maybe a little dip. Superior protection from C5 and mines is interesting, though.
Wonder, yeah, would that mean like it would take 4
Less
C5s? To
Probably
kill a tank,
4,
really,
yeah.
maybe?
Oh, I
That would
hope
be.
not.
Yeah, me too. I hope not to.
I mean, if it added, I like the whole mechanic of if C5 is not attached to the vehicle, it'll do less damage. I like that. I think that's fine. So maybe that's what they're kind of talking about. It'll just take less damage from, mines or C5 that's like on the ground because it has like blast protection underneath. Maybe kind of similar to like Dozer and his shield, or his trait is that he takes less damage from explosives. I would think that's probably this brawler's trait to make it stand out in some way.
Yeah,
I wonder how it would be against the Tor tank. I mean, that's sort of C5 in mines, but I wonder if it had an extra protection against that too.
Oh, yeah. Does the APS block the? It doesn't.
Nope, and it's infuriating.
How crazy is that?
Now that we say
that's something they need to change.
Yeah,
why would they change that? What the fuck?
Yeah, there's no way to escape it. If it's in the uncap or across the map, it's like, well, I guess I just can't go that direction. Yeah, it's really weird.
And you can't go into their uncap either as an infantry player to kill it. Like, it's just invincible. It just sits back there and farms. It needs to be changed.
Yeah. It's a very strange thing. All right, yeah, so that's those are the new vehicle for the map for the season. Should be interesting.
All right, so that's everything, huh?
That is everything for the season that we know of.
And may or may not come out. It's not official or anything like that. Okay, let's see. Where are we at right now? All right, cool. Let's do a couple more topics here. One of the biggest features I think people want to look forward to is some sort of squad management rehaul. Right now, you're just in a random squad, either via your 3 other friends only, or a bunch of random people, right? And you can have one option to switch to another squad via the squad and players button on the escape menu. And you can change a squad. And sometimes you can't because there's no room in any other squad. So in previous Battlefield games, as you know, Fletch and GraViTyXIII, you can select any squad that has an open availability, or it might be locked because friends are playing with each other. You can kick people from your squad. You can invite people to your squad. There's a lot of different things you can do. You can rename it or whatever. There's a lot of different things you can do with your squad management, and 2042 launched without pretty much any of those things. And it looks like they're going into squad management and perhaps doing these, like Temporio's been saying, another leak called squad contracts. And those are similar to what Battlefield 5 was kind of going for, like giving the squad leader some sort of call-in, like a V1 rocket if you guys get enough points together as a squad, and so on and so forth. So what do you guys think about what they should implement, or maybe what you think they should implement for squad management rehaul and these squad contracts? Fletch, what do you think about these things?
I think it's a step in the right direction, or something I enjoyed in Battlefield 5. It was much and 4 and so forth. Like the ability to have a bigger impact on the game if you work as a team is something this game is missing. There's really not a whole big reason to even squad up and work as a team in this one. I feel like you don't benefit too much. And then back to the ability to switch squads, make squads private. That's a huge one. I would love to see that into the game. Like, what happens if you join a game and you're stuck with the 3 guys sniping on the hill, but you want to go cap flags? Like, you're never going to be able to do it because you have to spawn 10 miles away every time. So, situations like that, it would be very nice.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm kind of scared about these squad leader roles. Like, if they're gonna do that, they're probably gonna implement some sort of, missile barrage or some sort of like tactical missile or something like that. I don't know. It'll probably piss off some people, but I feel like they're gonna implement something like that. Are you guys worried about that?
The last thing this game needs is more explosives right now.
True. I agree with you 100% on the, especially the things that kill other people. Like if the call-ins were like extra ammo or something like a vehicle. Well, I guess you can already call in vehicles without needing the points. But like JV2 rocket or whatever from 5 in this game would be something else. I don't know if I would like that or not. It'd be cool, but I don't know.
Yeah, people are asking about ammo crates from Battlefield 5 they can build, like ammo stations. I don't like that idea because that would be kind of overpowered, to be honest. But what do you think about a squad call-in of a crate that's similar to Angel, maybe?
What Battlefield game, what round are you, what game are you playing where you don't have 10 people around you at any given time with med crates and ammo crates in this game? They're all over the place. I don't think that's necessary at all. I've seen people asking for like attrition and health regen station. Like, why? You regen health? Like, it's really weird. As far as the squad stuff goes, I'm happy to see it's finally happening. This is one of those things that, hey, it needs to be on that list and checked before the game is launched, right? Leaving squads, joining squads, kicking people out of squads, privating squads, and the last one would be, I'm not sure about squad contracts, but I would like to see a squad leader, squad order thing where at least if the group does something, there's more XP for the people who in the squad who achieved it. There's like none of that now in this game. Yeah,
those mechanics are there where you can spot the
objective, and anybody can, but you don't get any extra points or anything for
it. Right. That should be implemented.
Yep.
I think they should take it farther than XP or something a little bit. I mean, maybe I'm in the odd one out because I have 2,000 hours in this game, but like XP means absolutely nothing to me, so I wouldn't really care if it was added. Like, I feel like they need to add at least a little something like a smoke barrage you can earn or something like that just to spice it up.
Yeah.
And then what about the, you say you didn't like the resupply stations? I thought they were cool in Battlefield 5, but I don't think they'd be good in this game. But what do you think about vehicle resupply stations? So tanks can't just sit on hills and they have to go, at least down to pick up more ammo and then they can go back?
No, I don't.
I'll give attrition to tanks and vehicles.
I would never do that ever again.
I think it would piss off hell people. I
think it would too. As an infantry player, that's what I want. No, I'm just joking.
Well, in previous games, jet fighters would have to go back over their base and resupply there. BF5, you have to go through some hovering circle or flags in the back of the map. The skyhooks.
Air vehicles are a different story, but ground vehicles, no. There should never be a vehicle resupply station. If anything, there should be. I prefer it with a longer ammo reloads thing, like there is in BF4, where you have a limited amount of ammo and it just kind of recharges slowly over time. I think that's the way it should be.
I like that.
Yeah, I think that's a better option.
And we already went through it. We went through the other options in BF5, and it was very negative.
Yeah,
I that's what I've noticed.
There's just constantly in a 64 player game, or even 128, far too many occasions where you just need to spam shells and spam out at too many enemies, and suddenly you run out and like, well, I guess I need to backtrack for 10 minutes across the map and then spend a minute reloading and then come back and then die to a plane on the way through, right? It's not a fun system, unfortunately.
True. And people love to camp those resupply stations with mines and stuff. So you end
Yeah.
up finally getting there just to blow up to somebody, put mines down there 10 hours ago.
And you got to build them too, right?
Right, yes.
Yeah,
And you had to get out of your vehicle and then build it up, and then while you were getting out, you got shot by a sniper.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's not a fun and enjoyable system. However, I do agree with you that perhaps there should be some other squad reward for doing something other than XP. I don't know what that would be in 2042 though. That's a group think thing they need to come up with.
Yeah, it's something they had to have in mind. And when they made the game from the ground up, it's like maybe too late to add it in now.
Now, Fletch, were you in any type of clan or group of friends that you ever play Battlefield with?
No. Well, I mean, I
Not
played
really.
with multiple groups of people, but we never like were in a clan or had like a clan tag or anything like
Okay.
that.
I just asked because a lot of people are wondering about Platoons. And I know there's an EA survey that went out recently, and Platoons was one of the things that come up. I know a good friend of the show, Thurston, from Twitter, he would post about Platoons every single day. So did anyone at him about this survey? It's like, look, they said something about Platoons. This is the day. But what do you guys think about? I mean, I'm just gonna say it right out the bat. Let's just cut to the chase here. I don't think platoons are even needed in this game at this point. Like, it's just completely worthless. And it'd probably take a lot of work to even implement that. But to what? What are you gonna do with your platoons? Like, you're just gonna join your friend that's playing on the server? Is that it? Like, I feel like it deserves more. The way Portal's implemented ain't gonna work. Et cetera, et cetera. So, what do you guys think?
I think it made more sense in the past. Like nowadays, everyone takes their groups or clans or whatever, and they're all in like Discord calls and stuff. They already have a way to communicate and meet up and find each other. I feel like it was a thing in the past. It wasn't so accessible to be able to find all your friends and invite people to your groups. But now I think everything's just run through third-party sites. So platoons to me don't seem to bring too much to the game, if anything, to the game.
Yeah.
There's the counter argument to that is if you're in a game with a group of people who all have the same tag, that is for the people who have those tags, that is kind of a in-game representation of a community or whatnot. And the second part of it is it kind of advertises your community, and it's if it in a world of BF3 and BF4 where battle log you had platoon pages, they can search out your platoon and go, hey, this looks like a cool group of people. They look really skilled. They actually talk to each other. Yeah, I'm going to message them and try to join in their platoon and have, join their games and actually squad up with people. It's kind of an incentive and motivator for that rather than just playing on your own.
Right.
Now,
okay, I see that.
Now, with 2042, we'll never get platoon pages. I don't think we'll ever get that. However, the only thing that I would like to see is the old BF2 prefix come back. And that was a simple thing of on the login screen, you just say, you can have like a little 5-6 character limit. Yep, you just say, this is my prefix, this is my clan tag, and it just auto queues it in game. That's it. Laziest thing in the world.
You wouldn't want clan tags?
Yeah, clan tags. That's all. If we're not going to do anything with platoons, just give me a prefix for clan tags. That's it.
But clan tags are toxic.
You can only have four friends in a squad as it is. I think it's but it's toxic.
Having more than 4 friends is toxic.
Yeah.
Oh well, I don't know. I agree. I'm like, really? Is EA going that far where they think clan tags are toxic? Just like the scoreboard was toxic, and they're like, all right, fine, give it to them.
There's also
I forgot there wasn't a scoreboard for a long time.
Yeah,
I totally forgot about that. Was so weird.
There's also an argument to be made that when you're in game with a bunch of people, and you're just kind of scanning the environment, looking through the player names above everybody's vehicles or player model, that occasionally, if you're used to identifying a tag, a certain thing, you'll scan to that and go, hey, my buddy's over here, and you'll head that direction rather than, where are you at? Oh, you're in that tank, or but you'll see the tag above their head or something like that. It'll be a little more easy to represent or easy to identify.
Okay,
there are advantages to it.
Okay, last topic here. It'll be really quick. now that the class system is implemented, and people are playing different roles here and there, trying out different gadgets, is it the right time to bring back weapon emplacements that are just kind of on there on the field, kind of like a tow missile or AA rockets?
Like something you can pick up off the ground, that's just in
No,
certain areas.
Like a tow launcher, like you'd see on BF3 Caspian.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know you're talking. Okay,
I 100% agree. At least on the 64, and not on Breakthrough maybe, but on the 64 and 128 Conquest maps, I think there should at least be 2 or 3 flags per map that have a tow launcher, and I think that's about it. Maybe add an HMG emplacement somewhere in some of those outposts, but that's it. I don't now. Give me something else, something that makes the little map a little more dynamic.
Yeah, bring some atmosphere to the game. This game is really lacking in a war atmosphere and all. It doesn't even feel like you're in a war half the time.
Yeah, and they're trying so hard to make it look like it, after the fact. With all these reworks and whatnot, it's like still, dude, like, that grass has been cut. It's been mowed, man. Like, what's going on here? Like, what do you guys think specifically about the AA missiles though? Because I want those, but maybe some pilots don't want to memorize the map too much and deal with those AA launchers. What do you guys think?
Well, I'm not someone who flies much in this game at all, but I have a lot of buddies that do. And to me, it seems like although helicopters are powerful, vehicles as a whole in this game have been much easier to deal with than in previous battlefields. Like the ability to hack and use missiles on everyone, having 100 or 64 players on each team, having the potential to shoot you out of the sky. I feel like maybe adding more anti-air and stuff might not be the best idea. But like, I like the concept, but they already deal with so much. If you watch someone who's flying a helicopter, it's just constant beeping in their ears. Like they're just never not getting locked on.
I completely agree. Yeah, I think
it might be too much.
I think between the Liz rockets and all the Stingers and all the active radar missiles from other helicopters, from other jets, from the Stingers, from the Wildcat, from the Sea Ram, I think it's overburdened as it is. I know Julian has a problem with air vehicles right now, and I'm sure he's reflecting on the Battlefield 2 days where you would actually have a Stinger. A 2 Stinger shot where you can lock on. It was emplacements on most flags. Those were good for that day, for those days. But you got to remember in BF2 there were no handheld anti-air weapons, so that was your only AA. I don't think that serves a purpose right now. I think right now the big problem with air vehicles is that jets still are extremely underpowered and extremely underdesigned and underperforming, so they can't take out other attack helos, other jets, and the transport helos. And I think the transport helo still needs to be considered nerfed, because that is still a huge problem with frustrating air dominance.
Yeah, what do you think about transport vehicles, Fletch? Let's just get into that.
I don't think they transport anybody but the other team back to the spawn menu. I don't think their name defines like what they are at all. Like especially even in the smaller imbalance, I think the Hind is the most overpowered and has been since the game has been out. And then even in comparison to the Condor, like the Condor, to me, I never see Condors dominating Hinds. So I feel like there needs to be a change in the transport choppers as a whole. But even from team to team, it's not balanced because everyone would pick a Hind over a Condor. So I don't know how they would change that. I think they should go back to like the Battlefield 4 transport system, where like very minute guns or no guns at all, and it was just transport, and that's the whole thing. And then move the transports we have now into the attack chopper column or something like that. I don't know.
I mean, I would move them to like the armored tank, instead of having an armored tank, you have a flying armored tank now.
I'd move them into the garbage can.
I've actually got a video coming out regarding this particular topic, and I have 4 suggestions for the big air transports right now. And I think what Fletch said is 100% right. You need to define their role as an air transport vehicle and not as an overpowered killing machine, especially in Breakthrough, where you can have 2 of these things farming an enemy team.
There's 2 in Breakthrough?
On some maps, on certain sectors, there's 100% two Condors or Hinds, depending on who's attacking team. First thing you got to do,
like torture.
First thing you got to do is you got to get rid of that second seat weapons. Just get rid of it. It's 40 millimeter, 50 millimeter gone. Just continue with the side guns. That's fine. That is those are very strong. We're very effective at clearing out infantry already as it is. Second thing is, I know that everybody hates the health pool, but if you're gonna get rid of the main guns, the health pool has to remain the same. And that's fine because on 64-player Conquest and 128-player Conquest, these things got to go, and they have to survive the crazy amount of stuff getting shot at them. And I think without being neutered, with being neutered on their weapons, I think that's fine. Number 3, I would add 2 more internal seats in the back seat of each one of these plane things, because so many times when they're flying around, people don't bail out, and you need to be able to spawn in these things and bail out yourself. So I think that would increase the transport ability of them. And with the final thing is, I think the physics need to be reworked on these things. And by that I mean the disable and the impact physics. Despite the fact that they have no weapons, that I wouldn't want them to have the 50 millimeter or the 40 millimeter anymore, these things, they need to take damage. Then they need to feel like they take damage. And I know that's Julian's main problem with these things. If they get hit by a stinger, they shouldn't just be able to hit the repair button and fly away at that top speed. They should actually be a 4 where you get hit, you start, descending slowly until it auto repairs, or, you lose velocity, you lose altitude. Or if you get hit by a tank shell, the actual impact physics make it feel like you got hit. Like you can't just sit there and look at the thing and it just smiles at you and waves and flies away. When you get hit off of the side of a tank shell, that chopper should start bending over to the left and get disabled and maybe even go into the ground. That's how it should feel, and I would retool that.
Yeah, and I think maybe adding those physics and with sweet spots onto some of the vehicles is always a skill gap. So a better chopper player will be able to protect its sweet spots, and then a better infantry or countermeasure will be able to know that they need to shoot it in that certain location. I think that's a level to the game that could bring back.
Yeah,
it would help.
Is that a thing on tanks anymore? Are you shoot them in the butt?
No,
I don't think
it's
so.
not.
Yeah, no.
It takes a hair more bonus damage. I think it's like 37 is the max I've ever seen a tank in the direct rear shot. That's a whole other topic I'd love to get into another show.
Yeah, because there's like parts can be destroyed on several different vehicles, right? Part destroyed, it says, but doesn't seem like the part got destroyed. They're just kind of
what it really is when it says that it's a disable, but the disable is so minimal and minor that you don't even notice it. Tanks, you notice it more because if you get hit in the tracks and that part's disabled, you actually can't pivot your tank sometimes, or you have to wait for the engine to kind of repair a little. Or the tank turret will get hit, and that'll be really slow to turn. So you'll notice that more than anything. Yeah, but choppers, you barely notice it.
All right,
especially the condors and stuff, because it doesn't affect the guns. Like you're disabled, but like you said, what's disabled? Still fly. I can still aim the gun, still shoot the guns at full power. It's not really disabling anything.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's go a little longer here. I have just a couple more little features and things I want to talk about. Instead of doing overtime episodes or whatever, we could just kind of get it done here on the main show. There's quick little things like let's stick with the mini map, and it goes along with something else. In previous Battlefield games, you used to be able to increase the literal size of the mini map from the bottom left-hand corner or wherever. Just in a couple games. I think it was only in be it 3, 4,
not in 3,
hard
4, 1,
and
and
3,
5.
4, 1, and 5. Okay,
probably hardline too. Probably hardline,
yeah.
But I didn't play too much.
So the increase in map size is so you can see it better, and you'll see like where people are around you and whatnot. Do you think that should be a thing, or they took that out because it was too powerful?
Oh, they took it out because they didn't have the development time, along with like everything else in the game. That's why it just didn't get to it. But yes, that should be in the game. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the customization on your HUD should be way more in depth. You should be able to do a ton more things with the mini map and other things too, removing and adding UI to your screen.
Yeah, I remember watching a video of I think Danny on PC was talking about this. There are certain games like the Division or Division 2 where you can take literally every UI element and move it wherever you want. on the entire screen. Like he moved the mini map right in the middle of the screen. And I was like, why would you do it? He's like, I don't know why, but you can.
There are certain devs that have some really cool mechanics like that. I think the UI team from Battlefield, ever since BF5, has earned a reputation, a poor reputation among the community, and some earned some criticism for their lack of a proper UI design, deservedly so. I mean, look how long it took us to get proper just damage indicator numbers on for things. It's or a scoreboard, right? These are insane things. Lessons like, whether or not you can scale a minimap, that goes back to Battlefield 3, where you couldn't scale your minimap, and it was a tiny, like half-inch square in the bottom left of your screen, and it pissed off so many people. So on BF4, they're like, make it big, do whatever you want. Everybody loved it, right? That's the lesson that should be learned, and on that list of checkboxes that DICE should say, hey, before we release the game, it's got to be on that. We got to have that. Yeah, it absolutely should be back in the game.
Okay. All right. The other thing that kind of relates to that is when you're respawning or about to respawn, the minimap is kind of replaced by a video feed of your squad mate in BF3 and 4, I think. You guys want that back? So it's, when you want to spawn in, because here it does give you a little warning saying that they're in combat or whatever before you can spawn in, but it is such a small window. Like, if a bullet is not fired within a millisecond of you hitting that button, and then by the time you get down there, right, bullets are being, fired and you're dead, right? But if you had some sort of video feed from your squad mate you're trying to spawn on, would that be better? I mean, I feel like that could be implemented, don't you think?
I think they need to do something. I've always said that the hardest part of staying alive or being decent at the game is if you can stay alive for the first 3 seconds after you spawn, you've completed the hardest part of the game. Because there's so many times where you spawn in and there's a literal tank 2 feet away from you. You're like, what the fuck is that? Why am I right next to the enemy tank right now? But I could see people maybe thinking that video footage, which I would actually like, might be a little overpowered. Maybe.
Did you play the BF3 or BF4 versions? Do you know what we're talking about with the little bottom left corner mini map? Okay.
Was it in another future one too after that? I feel like I remember it from another game, but I could be wrong.
I don't remember it in BF5. Yeah, but it could have been Hardline.
Yeah, I didn't play a ton of Hardline. Yeah, I would say it's a good way to introduce, or they should add it to the game, or at least change the way the spawn mechanics work. Because it's literally the hardest part of the game is just staying alive for the first 3 seconds. You never know what you're going to jump into.
I'll say this. I would like to see the feature come back, because the biggest benefit of it is if you're in a squad with friends on Discord, one of the first questions you ask when you're dead is, are you safe to spawn? Right? Because you can actually audibly say it. If you're in a random game by yourself, you can't ask that question, or you can type it, but it's a pain in the ass. It's got VoIP, but nobody's going to respond to you. So most of the time you just don't know. You don't know what you're spawning into. So having that extra visual 3D camera, either first person or third person behind your player, kind of gives you that little extra bit of information. The problem is, I hate to say this, I think that camera was based off the spectator tools, and because there's no spectator tools for the first person or third person in 2042, I don't think they can implement that.
Do you think they'll ever add a spectator?
No.
Into the game? No. Okay.
I
love having that mechanic.
I think we are officially at that point where we can just say that this is the first one since BF3 that there is guaranteed no spectator.
And I've also heard they're never going to add a server browser to the main game. Is that true?
Probably. Almost certainly.
That's sad. That would solve so many problems. Like, huge bulks of the problems are solved with that one thing.
Significant persistent servers and playlist changes would also greatly improve what they have now without a server browser. But they said they're going to work on it.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, we're never going to get a server browser for the main game. They already stated that. I mean, how crazy would it be if you were to matchmake into that Conquest button, right? And you would be put into an official like portal server or something that someone made that has official settings, and and only those. Like that would be interesting, right? It would have its own playlist. It would be customized to an extent where it's still ranked. Uh, I think that would be incredible because it would really, it would give people like a home. You can't have persistent servers, but you don't matchmake into them. You have to literally go to Portal and play in those. And I don't know, because that's how I want Portal to be, is part of the main game.
I think Portal is such a great idea. I've always said they should take it farther. Like, I don't know if you guys ever played Halo in the past, but like the Halo Forge system where you can actually create your own maps from the bottom up. Like, imagine the insane content and maps and stuff that people that love this game would make. It would be 10 times better than any of the maps the devs make. And they wouldn't even have to, they could just use their maps for free. People making your maps. Less money out of your pocket.
Even if it wasn't large scale maps and there was and they were just smaller, medium ones that you didn't have to run the risk of, breaking the map design or breaking the engine by having some overburdened assets or something like that. 100%. A Battlefield version of Forge where players can go in and make their own map styles and then popularize them. One would go so much. Would gain so much respect from the community and the for developer relations first off, but it would be the closest thing to mod support that this game could have officially without actually giving modders tools, so with their own unique or breaking the game code or anything. I think that'd be so good. On another note with UI and Portal, whoever decided to have an auto scroll option to on that Portal server browser needs to be slapped. And it's been a year and a half. The fact that you can't, it's not scroll. It's just that you hover over, it's going to scroll down. Why is that a thing? Just fix that, please.
Yeah. Well, I don't really care because I don't even go there anymore. There's nothing that engages me to even go to Portal or play any of that. I want to play the new game. But I wouldn't mind playing the new game with old features or old weaponry and gadgets. I'm down, but I don't want to play as a BF3 soldier. I'm sorry. I already did that for many years already. And, it's cool that it's an option and that it would be an interesting thing to do for fun. But I want to play the new game and I want to get all the new stuff and unlock all the new gadgets and things like that. That's why I don't want to go Portal, because there's nothing there for me. There's no normal 2042 playlist. I could care less if it's full XP or not. There's no good rotations. Nobody, the servers don't fill up or stay filled because no one match makes into them. They usually die after one round, or they're not existent. Right? They're all hardcore servers. Or just baloney that not even close to being Battlefield. And there's chaos modes, right? Which Fletch you might like. Did you ever try the Rush XL before?
Yeah, that is absolutely on a whole nother level of chaos. And then don't they have some game modes that you can boost up your movement speed a tiny bit?
Yeah,
across the board.
Pretty much every Friday night Battlefield is like that.
That shit is so much fun, especially when they had the crossbow only movement speed boosted servers. That was such a good time. I stuck on those servers too long.
Oh, good.
Not to make a pun of my name or anything like this, but I'm really surprised because they gave you all those modifiers that they have not given a gravity alteration like they can't, because this was going old school. Back in 1942, you were able to adjust the gravity, and there were low gravity servers where people could jump really high, throw grenades a mile. They would practically go into space. Vehicles and jeeps, so they go, launch and go clear off. It was the coolest mode, and I don't understand why you can't change that modifier in Portal. Just to screw around, that would be great.
Yeah, I feel like that's what Portal's missing it. I always thought of it as like a place to just do the craziest game mode, have the craziest, just random fun time, but they limit you so much that you almost feel like you're just playing the base game a lot of the times.
And that's 100% its problem. It both gives you too much and nowhere near enough freedom. And by that, I mean, they try to restrict it to the previous 3 titles that they re-implemented. But the problem is nobody really wants to play those previous 3 titles because 1, they're incomplete, and 2, they've played them already for decades, right? So... and they're buggy, and it's the mode just isn't really there. However, if you were to allow like a forge mode where you can change the maps and alter them, that's the kind of reconstructive things that players want. We were just talking the other day about how hilarious it is just to drive the Lat 4 Recon because it's so uncontrollable at top speed and it's so fast. Why can't you have a game mode where you make like a Hot Wheels map and have 50 of these Humvees just racing down a road over El Alamein or something like that? That'd be the coolest thing. Like, people could do that. Like, it's just one of those things that, you know, the greatness of mod support. This is the Battlefield sandbox experience that we expected and wanted with Portal, and we just got shortchanged with it, and just it kind of became a disappointment.
Yeah. I'm a simple man. I just want variety. I want different. I want 24/7 maps. I want all maps or DLC only maps, and just be like regular Battlefield. Like, why can't I get that? I can't. There's nothing like that around, and it makes me mad that there's no alternatives than the DICE official playlist. It's just not. It's possible. Obviously, it's possible to have it on Portal, but again, it's just not implemented to where they will be healthy and where I can matchmake into them or just join them off the server browser, and it's like a own little community there. It just doesn't exist, and that is for shame.
There's a lot of wasted potential for sure. Yeah.
Hopefully, in the next game, they can implement something like that. You get your zero gravity kind of servers out there. I think that would be kind of fun to implement, and a forge would be such an amazing feature to sell a game.
Exactly, and that's one of the.
And the Apex dudes are there. Come on, man! Give us the first Battlefield Forge that makes Halo look like crap. You got the Halo guy right there. You just hired the son of a bitch. Like, let's just go.
True, I forgot about that.
Yeah, you have to. The big thing about it is, like you just said, it is such a huge marketing thing. And just like the mod support of the old games, so the Refractor engine, that literally kept those games afloat for decades with their own communities based on those mods, there will literally be entire communities dedicated to a Forge-style Battlefield sandbox that just play the game and buy the game for that mode, right? Just to create. And that keeps your game alive. It keeps people buying the game. That's what you need.
Is Forge free? Because it's out on new Halo Infinite, right?
I think it is.
Free? Yeah, I think so.
All right.
But I've never done it on the new Halo. I didn't play much Infinite.
I know, me neither. I played
after Halo 3. After Halo 3, it kind of went downhill for me.
Yeah. But at the bottom line, it builds communities.
There's your free to play right there.
But the bottom line is, it builds communities, and it's worth the investment from DICE.
And EA. Yeah, because EA just doesn't like the whole mod support thing, right?
But why would they be so against it? I don't understand.
I asked the dev, Nicholas Estrand, actually on Twitter 2 or 3 years ago, maybe even longer, why mod support isn't a thing, and I tried to argue the case for him. And he actually gave me the decision, because he's been around, I think, DICE since BF2. And he was pretty straightforward and said it all comes down to money. It's just not worth the time and investment, especially with the newer games, because the engine is different. It's far more complicated. We have to do all the assets and the programming before we put anything out there. And it's not like in the Refractor engine where you're all using these low poly models. You didn't have to worry about the textures of everything was so much simpler back then on the Refractor engine. He says it's just so time consuming and money, and it's just such an expensive thing that it's not worth it. And I straight up disagree, and can prove my point on based off evidence of previous games and other games like Call of Duty and Elder Scrolls, the things that keep games alive, and GTA, and anything with mod support that keeps people involved and people buying your game is an example to the contrary. So, but that is the reason that I've seen DICE, at least one representative give me.
Yep. Well, let's see what Vince Zampella thinks and his team going forward. I hope for the best. I'm glad Battlefield is not dying with this game. Let's go. Let's keep going. 2042 is on the right track. We pretty much know, what's going on for season 4. We know what's going on for season 5. What are they going to do after? They can keep going. Who knows? But implement more features as much as you can in this game. Get back to the Battlefield roots. It looks like it's working so far. And listening to feedback, all this stuff is like they're doing a good job. They're doing a good job right now.
The game has improved so significantly from a year and a half ago. Yeah, from launch.
Yeah, just give us more options, more ways to play, and I think you're gonna make a lot of people happy. And they still got pretty decent player base now that it's cross-platform. You got a pretty healthy community right now, and like Gravity said, maps, man. This whole thing revolves around maps. Like, surprise us, season 5. Do maps. Like, fuck it. Let's go.
That's all we need. Just 10 maps. No guns, just maps.
Yeah.
Just maps. Yeah. If you want to sacrifice vault weapons and new weapons for a map, I'll take that any day of the week for sure.
Yeah.
And I always thought, since the core mechanics of the game have been pretty much, I'm not gonna say they're perfect, but they're so much better now, that would free up resources to add more maps and focus more on that. But I really haven't noticed much change when it comes to extra content being added.
Just because they pull, devs or off of one asset. I mean, they can't just change them into level designers overnight. There's those take so long in both the art, the textures, and the map assets that need to be created, the programming of those assets, the map layouts, and the artistic direction, all of that. That it's such a lengthy process these days.
Like a year. Yeah, they could take a year to build a map. And it probably costs like over $2 million just to make one map.
That's insane.
You know what? And there's really a weird. I would love to know the internal debate and the internal politics and internal budgeting as to why BF5 and BF 2042 have had such low map output. Considering like BF1, same engine, same pretty much game style. Premium model had dropped 4 or 5 maps every 4 or 5 months, right? Like, why? It doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me.
Budget.
But so it's got to be a priority, and it's very strange to me, and I'd love to know the internal reason as to why that's the case, because clearly there is such a strong benefit to maps in a Battlefield game.
Right.
Yeah, I think maps are what divide it from the other shooting games. Like, Call of Duty's all smaller maps. At least nowadays, they're making it a little bit bigger. But that was always what drew me into the game. Just a big open war. Just that's what I want. And I want a lot of different choices when it comes to maps to do that on.
And that's a great note to end it on for this episode of the Battlefield Show. It's Super Bowl Sunday, man. Let's get out there and party.
Well, yeah.
I don't know what team I'm going to go for, but anyway, thank you so much, FPS Fletch and Gravity, for joining me once again on the Battlefield Show. You can catch this episode on YouTube. If you guys are watching on or listening to the podcast, you can watch it on YouTube as well. Go follow us there. And Fletch, where can people find you? What do? You stream, right?
Yeah, I stream on Twitch under FPS Fletch is the name. That's about it, though. I'm kind of a one-trick pony. I don't have a Twitter. I don't have Facebook. I used to do YouTube, but not so much anymore. So yeah, if you guys want to visit me over on the channel, I would love to have you. And thank you guys for having me on this channel. It's been a blast.
Absolutely.
No problem. Great. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. And be sure to follow all the stuff up there, socials and all that, and we shall catch you in a few weeks, I believe. Gravity,
I believe at least 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, I'm out of town.
We're gonna take a break for a little bit, and probably be back by season 4 or close to season 4, and there'll be plenty of stuff to talk about then. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you soon. All right, guys, bye.